I'm here to talk about this week's jackpot with Mshamba. Kwani Mshamba uko wapi?
Niko hapa. Kwani unioni?
Kwani what's the occasion?
Wewe ujui? Si leo tuna introduce millionaires kwa Millionaires Club. Umejua hao ni millionaires tangu ndoto waanze. Angalia, kuna John kutoka Takoreti, kuna Rose kutoka Ruiru. Unangoja nini? Unaweza kuwa among this list. Ukifanya nini? Cheza Lotto. Join Millionaires Club.
Win every day with Lotto. Play now and you could win a guaranteed 200,000 shillings in the daily jackpot tonight. Plus, you can be one of 10 players to take home 10,000 shillings today. You will also get a free chance to win a guaranteed 1.2 million shillings this Saturday. Cheza to Zidi Pamoja. Send 50 shillings to paybill 77700. Account Ebru. Over 18s only. Gaming can be addictive. Play responsibly. This message has been approved by the BCLB.
It is yet another episode of your favorite show here on your favorite channel, Ebru TV. And as you know, we bring you the best, the most interesting and the most controversial tea anywhere. So thank you so much for being here. Today is Thursday. There's no throwback, but whether it's this week or last week, it's still the best tea. My name is Lydia KM. That's Lydia KM on all social media handles.
My name is Dana DeGrazia. There's no throwback because we always look into the future, and it's Hustle Goddess Online.
Yes, I hope you guys are ready for the official, Kenyan Friday. My name is Naomi Wamboy. That's WAMBOE on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
And I'm Joanne at yammymami.ke on all social media platforms. So happy to be here, guys. It's been such a strange day. Like, it was raining 1 minute, then the sun came out. I'm like, God, are you trying to give us a sign?
Right. Yeah, when it was raining, when I was coming, I was like, my day has been so good.
And I feel like we're kind of like sunset by like, here I am the day, and then it gets a little darker, and then we were beautiful night. Yeah, it's like
Naomi,
here we are. Right? If we were sitting in like a gradient, we would be like bringing you into the beautiful evening kind of thing. Maybe we could all dye our hairs different colors.
Let's not do that.
What can I say? Of course, like the ladies at this table, we're always here to push the limits of the conversations, and we want to make sure that you're in on it. So get on the hashtag #EbruLet'sTalk and the text tone 40920. We want to make sure we hear from you. It's time for Hot Talk.
I have been meaning to make this shout out for a while, so I'm just going to make it now. So shout out to Auntie Mary Mbuthia from Dawn Home, and Kevin, the tall one, and my trainer. All the people who
the tall one?
Yes, Kevin, the tall one. Every person who meets me and becomes a fan of the show, I appreciate it. It's not like you're just doing it. Like, we appreciate that kind of vibe. Anyone has a shout out?
Yo, shout out to Big Mama for doing my hair from Mombasa.
Oh. Shout out to my entire family and my whole audience, all my followers on social media who actually take the time to come and watch the show. Guys, I mean, thanks.
Yeah. Shoot, shout out to Joe's followers too, because you also followed us and we appreciate it, but also shout out to TZ because I've been getting a lot of love those sides of the border. So, and who else? The people that recognize me this weekend when I go to the mall. I mean, anybody who comes up to me, I'm always excited. Shout out to the whole of Kenya. Shout out to Chicago. Shout out to everywhere.
We absolutely appreciate your viewership. And again, as we say, without you, we are just four girls chatting. So thank you so much for being here. Let's start the show with my not the most favorite person in the world, but sometimes we're on the same side, Andrew Kibe. Now, Andrew Kibe, as you know, is he's a big name. Like, he's been constantly trending for some reason or the other. He's very opinionated. We differ with some of his views, but that's all right. Anyway, he was arrested Wednesday. That was yesterday. Yeah. He was arrested because he owes a friend, he says, 2.5 million Kenya shillings. Now, the story goes, it didn't start with 2.5 million Kenya shillings. He borrowed 215,000 from one of his friends his name is Joshua Weru. And he had agreed to have paid back the loan within 18 days. And after that, there will be an interest of 55,000 Kenya shillings failure to pay the loan, and which would accrue 7.5% penalty of the interest of every 4 days. So if you do the math, which I didn't, someone did the math for us, and it's 2.5 million shillings. Now, it's been 7 years. It's been 7 years since this situation happened, and no one even asked him, hey, there's this loan, pay back. It was straight up arrested and taken to court. Before he had even seen the judge, all this motion was already out, and all he was saying is, this is someone who I thought it was a friend. This could have been a conversation, it could be something. I'm going to try and read this out. So, kuwa na deni si kitu kubwa, lakini sasa akikam kunishika kwa stesheni. Sasa hiyo ni ugwana oh Jesus.
Ugwana kweli.
Ni ugwana kweli. I don't even know what ugwana means. You guys let me tell you how petty some people can be. Even before we've seen the judge, the story is already out. It seems a little malicious.
Yo, it is kind of malicious, but at the end, no, who is he calling petty? Because look, you didn't pay off your debt for a whole 7 years. Not like the 18 days, not 1 year, even after 2, like after even the 18 days, I'm gonna come looking for you. You feel me? And then even I'll give you leeway. So even a year, because $215,000 is a lot of money. And you've accumulated that debt, like the interest and stuff. So after a year, I'm gonna be like, yo, just putting it out there, I'm here. Like, I'm gonna keep reminding you. But a whole 7 years later though, for you to know, that's being petty.
So
Okay,
But we don't know that he didn't
snip him.
Oh yeah.
So
So it says the whole story is out. Anyway, with that being said, I pray that you treat your friends with leniency, because ile mbio nimepelekwa my friend by somebody who I thought was my friend. What do you think?
I feel like we don't know whether or not there was other interventions in between. Like, I find it hard to believe that it was just, you know, okay, I've loaned you the money, now it's been 7 years, give me the money back. Like, I feel like there must, by the time someone takes you to court, because you know it's expensive. It's expensive to take someone to court. So I feel like there must have been some interventions. And I'm like, this is just bad manners. It's just bad manners. And I'm sorry to say, but it's not like completely shocking that Andrew Kibe is being, you know, is arrested for having bad manners. Because I'm sorry, guys, like, I love you ladies, but if I loan you money, kindly give it back.
No, it affects.
Kindly give it back when you say you're gonna give it back.
It affects a relationship. It does. So the finishing of the statement is nimeoneshwa maneno, so please treat your friends with leniency hata kama mtu aka na deni yako. So I feel like everyone's here made points, because we don't know within the 7 years what this person has done. But personally, I feel like I shouldn't have to remind you of something you owe me. Like, I should only be like, hey, do you recall this? And then you go, oh my God, yes, oh my God, I remember. Because after being reminded of one time of an embarrassing thing, you remember it for a long time. So I don't think this is a situation of Andrew totally forgot he owed this guy little money and that it was incurring this debt. Also, I feel like, personally, I kind of feel like Andrew's up in his feelings with himself. I feel like he's a little up his own butt. Like, in this sense of his ego is so big, like, I'll let it incur this debt, let it go, whatever, whatever. I don't think this is about friendship. I think this is, he didn't feel like paying this guy back. He thinks, I'm Andrew Kibe, what am I doing? And so he let that get the best of him. And his friend is like, no, you don't get to walk all over me. Because even how he presents himself in at least the media, he comes off to me like that. So I get that this is like, oh, my friend had me arrested, but this was not the friend woke up one day and said, suddenly I'm doing this. This is, you have pushed me to my limits, and this is the way I feel like going.
I can only agree with you ladies. Quite generally, it was like, this guy has done pretty much everything somebody can do before getting it to the arrest situation. Now, if it was a matter of maybe, 7 years ago, who was Andrew Kibe? We didn't know Andrew Kibe, whatever he was doing. Like, I think he was even a pastor 7 years ago. Remember that story about him being a pastor? And maybe, he borrowed 215,000, right? So whatever the mathematics of interest accumulated or whatever. So for me, if it's a situation, it's like, now you're this big shot, like, so get my money now, as opposed to hey, listen, you owed me some money. I didn't need it like 7 years ago. I haven't needed it this whole time, but I need it now. Personally, I am for, if we are friends, like, let it be that, I've done everything before we get to, I've got you arrested, you're in court, and the story of us, how we've dealt with our situation is in public. Because this could have happened without any of us knowing. But when that was yesterday, and even before anything, it was already out. So I feel like there's a little bit more malice in this than it just seems like, it's just a matter of like money. Like,
but okay.
That guy doesn't even, he doesn't even express an ounce of remorse. Like, he's not even out there saying, I borrowed money from this guy. It's unfortunate I was unable to pay it back because of this and this reason. We don't know what he said in court, but like, he just does not seem remorseful. He's like already he's gaslighting the other guy. He's like, how dare you do that to me? And he's the one who started.
But also, I mean, once I've had someone try and get me arrested. Once it escalates to that situation, everybody knows there's no repairing the relationship. But I feel like if we're going to say, oh, he was a pastor 7 years ago, so that's one money-making job, and he shifted to another money-making job. And if you have the money, because even what he acknowledges, having debt is not a big deal because, you know, countries get in debt. I understand that conceptually, but countries will also need to communicate with each other, because when you don't communicate about finances, you know what happens? You go to war, okay? So I feel like he's acting like this guy suddenly reacted, and that is not the case. That's never the case in this. So you really think this guy woke up after 7 years? No, I guess I'll go to jail today.
We've got to leave it that. We don't know if the guy communicated to Andrew Kibe, and we don't know if Andrew Kibe has been avoiding him. We've got to leave room that really only these two people actually know.
The only thing that isn't speculation is that he owed this guy money over the past 7 years.
And someone should not have to remind you. If you owe someone money, you should just know.
That to me,
if you're friends.
That to me says more about your character than it does mine.
I am totally for, like, you know, a little bit more leniency. We are friends.
I'm not
it's money.
I know.
You know, that's how I personally am. Like, and a lot of, you know, even my transactions is like, if I'm going to ask it back when I need it, right? Or even I can even ask it back when I want it, but you know, I'm not trying to be breaking or burning bridges about money.
You know, the issue
like,
with
it's
that
got to be
is-
pretty extreme for me personally.
Yeah, I feel like I get what you're saying, but I feel like if I wait to the point where I'm asking money back when I need it, that means I've suddenly put myself in pain. And you should never give from a position that's going to then leave you in pain, because you shouldn't give until it hurts. And I feel that's just where I come from. I think you shouldn't loan anything out that you need to get back immediately. But if I do have to wait and wait and wait, and then I'm in pain, not only have we ruined a relationship, but your irresponsibility has also ruined my finances. You know, and it's a bigger game than that.
I'm curious about what you've just said, because then how do you ensure boundaries with your friends? Because for me, financial boundaries are so important. Like, even if we go out and you say you're paying me half, or like you're like, oh, I don't have cash right now, I'll send it to you later. Even if it's 20 bob, even if it's 100 bob, it's about the fact that you said, I will send it back later. I expect you to not have to remind you.
When I say about need, it's like you've come to me in a far dire situation for whatever reason. For example, our dynamics here in our lives are very different, right? So maybe I have more disposable income. I don't have children. You have children. So I'm going to consider that bigger than what my need might be, depending on what I need the money for. So like, I'm like, maybe for example, God forbid, like you're stressed with school fees or something like that. You need to pay your child's school fees and I've lent you money. I'm going to give you leeway because the things which are on your plate are far bigger than mine. So that's what I'm always going to consider, because you're my friend. This isn't a random person. A random person is 10 bob tomorrow, bring it back at 10 bob. But when with my friends, I'm going to consider bigger things, because maybe when you're talking to me about things like maybe your husband is not able at the moment and things like that. So I know I can give you way more room to breathe because I understand where you're coming from. You know, and when we're talking about it, it's going to be that kind of situation where I'm like, I don't need it the way you need it, and I know you're gonna get back up and you're gonna be good and it's gonna be all right.
Except if 7 years later you just see me in a club.
And then we're friends. You guys aren't friends anymore.
You know,
you're not friends anymore.
We are gonna dive deep into this rabbit hole if we continue this, because conversations about money, Moshane about money is complex, okay? So get on the hashtag Ebru Let's Talk and the text on 40920. Would you even lend out that much money? How would you handle it? Let us know. The next story here is another topic about gabbing and Moshane and people in each other's ears. So, famous gospel singer Gloria, let me not butcher her name, Muliru, was married to a pastor. This young man came out to the public and finally said that the real reason they broke up was that it was her friends in her ear saying that he was cheating, saying all these things, following all these stories, things of that nature. But she is claiming that it was actually because of unfaithfulness. Obviously, and even in the story it said, there are three sides, his side, her side, and the truth. I feel like a combination of that tends to make a difference, but let's read the receipts. So it says, according to Eric, the whole thing was blown out of proportion because Gloria is famous. She was in the public domain and I was behind the scenes. This has some validity to it. He continues on, what kind of cheating? She did not have any picture. There is no woman who came out saying she cheated with me. I did not cheat, he said. So we talked a little bit beforehand saying, yeah, saying that any guy who says there's no picture, there's no proof it didn't happen isn't the most legitimate. But I understand where he's coming from, because who out of us has not listened to a friend's opinion about a guy they were with? I mean, it happens.
No.
Oh!
No.
Really?
Please, let me tell you. First things first, the fact that the issue is, I feel like his issue is, I did not cheat because there's no evidence that I cheated. That's plain and simple. That's what he's saying. And let me tell you, if I'm a girl and I say, yo, girl, I've seen your man, and from what I've seen is I saw him kissing another girl or whatever. Depending on who it is, I can take that word as Bible. And I've had this experience where it was a matter of someone saw someone who was with being inappropriate. Inappropriate you can get past, right? But then after inappropriate, for her to leave her relationship, she was married. She didn't leave it on one of my girlfriends saw you hugging a girl. She had enough evidence or enough, nobody would tell me this if it was not true. And his defense is, if you didn't have proof, that was not enough of an excuse to leave me. That's where he's coming from. And I don't think that's true. If she felt like I've got way more than enough evidence, like from all my girlfriends telling me this, and I feel like, okay, this is overwhelming, to leave your marriage, she must have had enough.
Yeah, and I feel like also, like, the story also, like, says, like, she mentions, like, he was money hungry. She mentions money hungry. She mentions controlling as well. So you never know, like, what could have added up for her to end the relationship. But then when you have your friends in your ear, like, that's just icing to the cake sometimes.
Yeah, it's hard to be with someone that your friends don't like.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but shout out to, like, women who stand up for their friends, even who are in bad relationships. Because at times you need someone in your ear to tell you, listen, this is not working out. I've been in a bad relationship for 6 years, and my friends used to tell me, girl, like, no, but I was just like, no, I love him. I love him so much. But you know what, in hindsight, I was just like, I wish I had listened to them. And if your friendships are strong, even if it's just them, like them telling you, like, no, this man is not treating you right, that's enough. Like, you don't need a picture of your man in bed with someone else. If he's not treating you right, if he's not acting the right way, then, you know, that's enough.
But that's the thing, you have to have strong friendships, and you have to know your friends. Because there are some malicious people out there, and you know yourselves, who like to break up happy homes. And
that's the thing, because that's the thing. It can go also either way. Like, I used to have a friend, and thankfully we're reconnecting. She was and still is with a pretty abusive guy, and my sister and I would really try hard to tear her apart. Just listen, we get it, like, we'll figure something out, right? And she had another friend that got so angry with us for trying to tear them apart. She's like, no, you're ruining their marriage, I've known him for so long. So some people were just like, you'd rather be in a relationship than alone, wouldn't you, than single? So unfortunately, there are malicious people. She had to have weighed out, though, and clearly it outweighed, the cons outweighed the pros for staying with him. And I could also feel like, number one, you're right, he was not articulate in oh, well, no picture, no proof, no problem. He was not articulate. I feel like he's just now realizing he's in the public's eye no matter what. You're the ex of a celebrity, so people will know who you are. So he has to figure out how to rescue himself and his optics, so to speak.
And narcissists, ladies and gentlemen, do not believe that they need to be held accountable for anything they have not themselves concluded to be wrong. So if he feels infidelity was wrong, but being caught, to him, that generally does not relate to mean that I need to be sorry for something. So you're gonna get that. You're gonna get them. You know, you're texting a girl. It's obvious you've done something with this girl, but because I don't have proof, you don't feel like you should apologize. That's a narcissistic behavior. And since there was more than just the infidelity, good on her. If she felt that this was time to move on, it was time to move on. And if her friend poisoned her mind, they had something to use to poison her.
Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Exactly. And I think those are the worst kinds of relationships to be in, because like the guy will make you feel like you're the problem, you know? And he'll be like, okay, so you go and tell him, oh, I saw this on your phone, like you were chatting this girl, it was inappropriate. And he'll be like, but why were you going through my phone? You know, you invaded my privacy. And then you feel like, oh my God, I'm insecure. I have a problem. I need to stop. And then suddenly now he's like the perfect guy. And now you're trying to bend over backwards to make life easy for him.
Narcissism.
It's the worst.
Narcissism,
It's
and
the
I
worst.
feel like everyone has felt that
Oh,
before.
yeah.
I've definitely felt that, where you know for sure it's like, and the worst thing is that narcissists would die if you did the same thing to them. Because I used to just put it out on the table. So if I was behaving like this with somebody else, how would you feel?
Yeah.
You'd be devastated, but you are doing it to me without. You're not even remorseful.
They don't see the connection.
Right?
They don't see the connection.
Oh my God, I'm not mad at her.
That's
for
how
being
you-
wrong.
I'm not mad either.
That's how you
because
get psychos.
I've literally been in a relationship like that before, and it didn't turn out pretty. But let us know what you think out there. The hashtag is 40920, and the SMS, oh my gosh, my words are jumbled. Woo, the new Friday. The SMS is 40920, and the hashtag is Ebru Let's Talk. Like, are you going to listen to your friends? Would they be able to break your guys' relationship up? Anyways, this next story is about a love relationship between a 26-year-old woman named Megan and a 49-year-old DJ named Mark. So this love story happened how? Let me tell you the backstory. So in 2016, Megan met Mark when she was actually getting married to her previous husband. She was walking down the aisle. She met the DJ. I guess they remained friends after. Because in 2017, Megan ended up breaking up with her husband, and she ended up going to a bar where the DJ happened to be playing at, and they rekindled their friendship, I guess you could say.
What kind of...
But, okay, continue to listen. Then in 2018, Megan they rekindled their friendship in 2017, mind you. She's still married. 2018, she finalized her divorce. Mark also finalized his divorce, and they moved in together right after the divorce was finalized.
Like, you've got to bet DJ.
Can't trust nobody. You
Not
can't
even
trust nobody
my
these days.
question is, like, how do you guys feel about this relationship? Like, my thing is, they obviously were doing stuff behind closed doors and behind their husbands and whatever. Because, like, a whole year, though, they waited before getting their divorce finalized. But in 2017, they rekindled their relationship. Come on.
Let me tell you.
She was like that DJ.
Even if they weren't doing anything, because they don't necessarily have to be doing anything, they were clearly feelings like bigger than just platonic from when, like, you know, from that time. If they did not have an affair and they didn't do anything wrong to their other spouses, good on you. Live your life. You decided that you don't want to be with those people. You finalized the divorce and you're together now. Hooray for you. But if you are being deceitful, so you guys are just two deceitful people in another relationship, and you're gonna find a different way to be deceitful even in that one.
But remember, both their marriages were on the rocks.
On the rocks, yeah.
So it was not just like randomly.
While they were intermingling with each other.
Okay, you can't pull somebody from a relationship. Like, there's already a foot or a toe out the door kind of thing. For me, I'm not gonna judge you for if you didn't cheat and you left in this relationship because he moved in afterwards and everything. Mostly what I'm judging you for is being now with a 49-year-old wedding DJ. I am sorry.
He was playing at the bar. He
was playing at a bar, and he's almost 50. What are you doing with your life? I'm sorry.
DJ CK is like.
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry.
Chill out. He owns a whole.
But he's a DJ.
But ain't nobody a
oldish.
wedding DJ. Ain't nobody a wedding DJ
mean-
balling out here in America, okay?
No, DJs actually they do be balling out.
wedding
and they have
DJs.
other
Wedding
he's
DJs.
not only a wedding DJ. He would
But
DJ
then,
at the
you
bar
want
they
to know
met
why?
at.
Because wedding DJ don't pay. You gotta be
Are
a
you
different
dating a
DJ.
DJ?
I am not dating a DJ.
I think the
This
point
is like a disgusting techno Cinderella.
If he's a 49-year-old DJ, as long as, like, she's happy with that, like, I don't even think that's
Totally.
a problem.
Listen,
There are
totally.
people who are earning definitely far less and have love and true love. Like,
But what
that's
happens when he goes to another wedding and steals another bride?
Well,
I mean,
that's exactly
what
the
happens?
question.
What happens
Valid.
if this is his king?
Can you ever trust him to
No.
DJ at a wedding?
If he's DJing at clubs all the time,
But can
he's
you
DJing at weddings all the time.
Can you trust her to go to weddings? Because
Right.
maybe DJing weddings, you can't trust each other. That's what I mean.
Neither one of them
if
can
you
leave the
guys
house.
are being deceitful, you are two deceitful people in a relationship. So now it's just gonna be like, I'm going to a wedding. Oh no, you're not.
So let me ask you, Lydia.
Not today.
So does that mean if
You're going
the
to
context
DJ
within which
funerals.
you start your relationship determines how the relationship is going to.
I don't think-
you know,
for
because
me,
you know how
I've-
people. Let me finish. Because you know how people say, like, if a man cheats on his wife and then now leaves her to come be with you, you'll never be settled because you know he cheated on his wife. So that
Yeah.
means he's gonna cheat on you.
Because it's what it does, it highlights who a characteristic. It's not that you are cheating with that person because they were a horrible person. You are cheating because you chose that. That's your choice to you know to cheat.
Yeah.
So for me, I feel like the way you get them tends to be the way you lose them, and even not the way you lose them, that you're going to experience the same level of deceit because it's more of a character issue
Yeah.
than a circumstance issue.
So this is what one of you sent to us. She said, hey ladies, I'm married. I've been married for 4 years. Recently, my husband opened up to me, or rather, my husband opened up to me 2 years ago. So 2 years ago is when the husband opened up to her, that some colleague of his wanted to sodomize him when they were on a work trip. So obviously the colleague is a man. So I never thought about it a lot, but lately I thought about it, and now that I know almost all of his colleagues, I asked who among them wanted to sodomize him, and he got so mad that I am using the info against him, blah, blah, blah. So the guy was upset that she brought it up again. So her question is, did I do wrong revisiting the story?
No, no, and no.
So the incident happened 4 years ago. Then 2 years ago, no, 4 years ago is when they got married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 years ago
it's
is when it happened, and he told her. And now, 2 years later, she's brought it up.
And let me tell you, like, I know this must be a silly choice, but we need to remember with us, the girls, that we're giving someone's real life
Advice.
advice.
Yes, and real life
no,
situation.
don't.
Let me answer your question for you politely. No, no, and no. You did no wrong in communicating with your husband or asking your husband, who you were in a relationship with, who it was. There was no harm in that. There was no harm in that, ladies, correct?
Don't speak for us.
You are your own representative.
I feel like your husband is kind of a little on the standoffish side because your husband may be dealing with some internal issues in terms of, okay, you want me to be real? All right, maybe your husband is embarrassed because of some things that may have happened, or maybe it didn't happen and he's just embarrassed, or maybe he should never have gotten mad at you for asking who, because you know the callings. So something must have happened.
This is my take. This is my take. I've realized it's something which I really didn't implement, like in the last relationships I've had, and it's something which I'm going to try and implement. Anger is a secondary emotion, and usually what's behind that is fear.
Did I
now,
teach you that? I feel like I taught you that.
No, you told me that. You said
Yeah.
that before, but no, you didn't teach me that. One of the things, like when somebody is angry, is like you've got to decipher what about that is making them angry, because it can't be like, oh, so this guy wanted to do something to me, and you told me, and now that I know your colleagues, all I want to establish is that, just confirming the tea. So who was the guy who wanted my man? Maybe that's where you're coming from, but maybe there's a different layer, as Naomi has said, about the incident that happened that maybe has got him a little off balance. And I'm saying this carefully because, this is your life. If you feel like he was angry for no reason, you can just explain to him that you did not think this was like something which he carried with that much weight. You're sorry that you brought it up, but all you were trying to do is ascertain exactly who the person was, and what you thought you were having is a very casual conversation, and you weren't trying to be judgmental. If you can explain that to him, and still you're still being held to just asking, maybe you need to investigate why the asking is such a big deal.
Like, why does she need to know?
No, like you need to ask, why is the asking getting him so rattled?
You know what?
disagree.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I disagree with that because I feel like whenever someone has an uncomfortable sexual situation, which we can kind of ascertain that this was for him, because she's not saying he cheated on me with a man, she's saying I made him uncomfortable asking.
Yeah.
So to me, what this means is he had an uncomfortable, whether it's mildly or highly sexual situation. Every single person is uncomfortable when asked about that. If I asked you, hey, has anyone pinched you? Or hey, what's the grossest thing a man has said to you? It's a weird thing to discuss. So I feel like even in a relationship, you're right. She could have been coming at it from like an innocent, fun, like playful way. But I get where he's angry because it's like, listen, you know this very embarrassing detail about me, this very hurtful detail about something. So stop asking it.
She asked once and angry?
We don't, but also, let me go back to what you say. We only are alleging she asked once. For all
She
we
said
know.
that. That's what she
No,
said.
because she could have said, I'm
After the
asking
2
once.
years ago.
No, but she also could have been saying, I'm asking once over a period of days. She's like, I've only been asking you for 2 days. You know, if I do something consistently for a day, it feels like I've only done it for a day. That doesn't mean I wasn't asking you constantly over a period of an hour.
I think
So
you're
it could have
reading
been
too much
consistent.
into it.
Yeah,
I think so.
Let me tell you what I think. I agreed with you guys in the dressing room, but now walking down here to the studio, I think I've changed my mind.
Life changed. You
Because-
get older.
Yeah, right? Exactly. I just feel wiser right now because I feel like I remembered something that my husband is always telling me. He really hates it when I'm constantly revisiting things which have happened in the past,
Yes.
like later on, whether it's a positive thing. Well, okay, if it's a positive thing, not as much, but if it's negative, he really doesn't like it when like now it's been, 2 years. Guys, 2 years ago, my daughter wasn't even born. Like, you know, it's 2 years later. So I feel like even in the same situation, probably my husband would also react the same way just by virtue of the fact, you know, women just need to learn to let stuff go. Like, what does she mean then it didn't bother
Yes.
her? And then now 2 years later,
Let me
now
tell
I've been thinking about it lately and now I want to know. Like,
Let me
no,
tell
think
you why.
about it
It's
and give it to
nosy.
yourself.
Let me give. We'll give. We'll
It's
give.
nosy.
We're gonna give a
Exactly.
scenario. We're gonna give a scenario because, like, you know, this one is like a bit different because I guess it's a man who's being sodomized, and you know that's such a big deal, and you know that's seen as like, you know, that's like the worst thing that could happen to a straight man. Let's give an example. Nay, we met like March this year, and maybe you tell me that there's somebody who you go to the studio with who once like tried it on you or something like that. Now we've gotten to know each other. It's like the years have passed, and then we go to the studio once, and I'm like, girl, so the guy who tried it on you, which one is
Yeah.
it? Because now that she knows the colleagues, she's not even trying to ascertain any more detail because you said someone did it. She's trying to ascertain the identity of the person who did it. I can't see how that means that she's being nosy when now that she has like a full picture, now she's just trying to ascertain.
no,
I
who
think
is
that
it.
doesn't,
Right?
that doesn't account for the intimacy of the situation, because I get what you were doing, trying to make it more relatable, but at the end of the day, we have to acknowledge that when a man is asked to have anal sex, it's a lot more personal because women on the daily face misogyny. Women on the daily face these comments.
But you're
it's
my
a different
man.
feeling.
You're my man. I'm just asking who it was. And
It's
I'm not
very
asking
different.
you which way, how. I'm literally like, okay, so what you said,
Yeah.
who
But
is
then
it?
every time you see that person, you're gonna make the association, and that hurts them.
To be angry, to be for me, if she said that, you know, he feels like this is a sensitive topic, and like I'm here for that. Like if this is a sensitive topic for him, yes. But to be angry at her because she asked, like you're
But
not
you
even
know,
seeing
the
Men always get angry when they are talking about things to do with homosexuality. Don't you ever notice? If
But
you
he
even
told
ever
me, you told me.
insinuate
Okay.
that
He
a
told
man is
But
gay,
how do you go from playfully nosy to I'm going to be angry on your behalf? You don't.
No.
You go from I want to know, and then when you see that person, you're like, oh my God, now I know, and it's going to remain a
Okay.
thing in the space.
Okay, I get what all of you guys are saying.
Tell us.
Woo, Jesus, can I get a word? Anyways, I get what all of you guys are saying, and I see what you were saying when you said it's a whole 2 years later, like what's the point? But maybe it took that amount of time for her to like learn all the colleagues and like meet all the colleagues. And I get what Lydia's saying in terms of, oh, I want to know because you spilt the tea already. Now I want to know so we could be in on it together. And I get where you're talking about like a whole angry. He didn't have to get angry. If he was uncomfortable with the situation, well, number one, you told me. So me as your wife, it's okay for me to ask questions. There's no, you don't have to get angry. Just say, babe, I'm uncomfortable with telling you because I don't want you to look at my colleagues in a certain like way, or I'm uncomfortable with telling you who it is because I don't need you judging who I'm working around. Da 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 da. Like explain it, but you don't just jump and get angry.
you can't
But
invalidate
we
his
also-
feelings if he wants
We
to.
don't
He's angry,
invalidate.
he's
I'm
angry.
not
No, but
invalidating.
here's the thing. How do we go from the best way to communicate is X, and the reason why we are saying it's not because he's not allowed to feel angry. He's allowed to feel angry that something which is sensitive to him has come up. Those are feelings which he can't help. But for you who's asking, you weren't being malicious, and you know what it's like when you bring something to someone which you did not
Yeah.
know
Okay.
that you are being offensive,
And it also
and they're
yeah.
over here.
But-
you are
yeah.
like, whoa,
But also,
I
though,
didn't know.
even if you're the wife, I understand that because also I'm a fairly closed off person. I really tell people what I'm okay with them knowing, and everything else I'm going to take to my grave.
Yeah.
But I think another thing is even if she was coming in a playful, non-malicious way, if it's serious to me and you play it off like it's a funny situation, that is almost just as hurtful. Because if you're like, haha, that's so hysterical, you know, he looks like the kind of guy to do that, that is just as invalidating as any other way you could handle it, other than leaving it alone.
But nobody's saying she came at him.
And not even that. For
But the
me,
fact
what I'm
that
assuming.
that she asked at least multiple times.
Yeah, that there's nowhere where she said that.
Yeah,
She
there
said I
isn't where
asked him.
Okay.
This, like, I brought it up 2 years.
But do you think she
after.
was like, so, you know, babe, 2 years ago when you said that this, whatever. No, I just wanted to know. Like, highly
Let me tell
unlikely.
you, first of all,
Highly
here's the thing, yeah.
unlikely.
I feel like what there is like there's a presumption of you should know that this is an intense situation for me. Like that's the only thing. Like that's why he's probably angry, because he's assuming that she should know the level it means. And as Naomi said, all you gotta do is tell me. Like if somebody asked me something which maybe I told you in a casual way or in a less serious way 2 years ago, and you bring it up to me and those things still hurt to me now, I need to bring you up to par with where I am with the topic, which is I do not want to discuss this because I feel X, Z, and Y about the situation, and the way you're handling it, whether if she's being not serious about it, if she's casual, you need to explain to me that the way I'm approaching you is not the way which you want to be handling this situation, because guess what? I'm assuming you guys are married for 4 years. You guys share everything. So maybe for her, this is just another thing which me and my man are discussing. And maybe for him, it's a huge boundary. And you've crossed it. Communicate. Tell me that I'm coming off the wrong way. Help me understand where you are so that next time I won't do that.
I feel like
because how would she know?
But also to whoever wrote this, thank you for writing it.
Yes.
But I feel like that this is written very vaguely because we have no idea how you approach the situation. We have no idea what you consider to be angry, because some people consider this, my voice I'm speaking with right now, as an aggressive yell, and to me it's just not. So I feel like we don't know enough about the situation, but the things that we can ascertain at this is that it's an upsetting situation, and you have to decide as his wife, is this something that is worth me pushing, or am I going to allow him to have this?
Yeah.
Because there are things that my husband does not know and will most likely never know about me because I don't want to talk about it. And so maybe he's the same type of person.
Yeah, and I feel like you're definitely answering as if it's your husband who's asking.
Yeah.
But
I think I should give her a hug.
communication is key. So you
that's the
did
thing,
not
you
know
think
where
I'm
he
yelling.
was, and maybe he assumed that you did. So this just needs to be a conversation of, if you feel it's a big deal and you really want to prod, up to you how you're going to handle it. But if you feel like, okay, if it upsets him this much, let me let it go, then you decide how you're going to do it. But I feel like maybe you're coming from an innocent place, and maybe he's coming from an innocent place from assuming you should know how he feels about it. So we hope this helped, my dear, although we disagreed so much. But anyway, guys, it's absolutely now time for Talk That Talk.
Ladies, we're on time. We're on time.
So today's Talk That Talk is one which I can semi-relate to. So the Talk That Talk, this is somebody who sent in a question as well, and we decided to do it for Talk That Talk because honestly, it's something which a lot of women I feel like have really been through. So we're gonna use it for that. So she says, she said it to Joe. Hey, Yummy Mommy, I am your follower on this platform and I love everything you do.
Oh.
Thank you, me, Yummy Yummy. Kindly need your advice. I am age 29, dating a 40-year-old divorced guy who has 3 children, but they stay with the mother. I love him, but I'm skeptical about making a lifelong commitment to him. I feel bad I will never experience the first with him since he's already experienced all first regards family life. I feel I will never come first, but his kids will. I am also worried about finances. I feel my future kids and I will have to sacrifice a lot because the dad already has 3 other lives to take care of. I even fear committing my finances in a marriage to do things together because I feel I will be taking up a burden that's not mine. Please advise me, should I accept to be married to this man?
Some very mature concerns.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Should I go first?
Okay, you go first.
Can I ask
My short answer
Yeah.
to that question would be, I don't think you should marry him. And the reason I'm just gonna come right out
What
and
about
say
date?
it. And the reason I'm saying that is because, and I'm saying this because my husband has been in this situation, and I've asked him several times, like, was it a factor for you, the fact that I had a child before? Did it ever concern you? Like, will I love this child? Is this like a complication? Like, there are a lot. Like, he's an attractive man. Man, that man is hot. So I'm like, you could have dated anyone, you could have married anyone, but I'm like, this was a situation, like, and he was like, I'm ready to do it. And for him, what he said is that if you love someone enough, it won't matter that they had 5 children or they had the 10 children. Like, these issues that she's bringing up would not be as big a deal. The fact that they seem to be hurting her so much, it kind of just points to me the fact that she's not ready to be in this kind of relationship. And honestly, it's not for everybody. Like, I don't think just anyone can be in a relationship where there are children, where there's exes. Like, I feel like some people are more prone to be able to be in that kind of a situation. But for her, I would say, you know, because it really seems to bug you, seem to have so many issues with it, just don't.
Can I also ask you, really just, it's like a one-word answer. Who comes first in your marriage, your kids or your husband?
That's a
Off
tough
the dome.
one.
Because for me, how I was raised in a family dynamic is that the kids always come first. So sorry to say, girlfriend, but like, you always going to be second because kids to me always came first. But Naomi, you had something to say.
No, I was actually.
You're gonna ask?
I was actually not gonna ask that, but I was gonna say that. Like, I've actually been in a kind of a similar situation, I guess you can say. I was kind of talking to or like dating a guy, not dating. Anyways, he wanted to be in a relationship with me. I was skeptical about it because he was older, some years older, and he did have children who were a little younger than me.
Does his name start with D?
Shut the heck up.
Is he my namesake?
Feel the tea.
Oh, she will.
He had children, and even like his oldest kid has a kid. So anyway,
You can be a grandma.
But I mean, he had money, like, so he was on my level. But I was questioning because I don't have kids, and I want to experience that with someone, and it be magical, you know. Like he already went through that phase of his life, and he didn't want any more kids, and it's like. So when you're starting to question or have those kind of questions, just reevaluate the relationship. And
This is my opinion. First things first, it's you said that you feel like you won't always come first. That's a fact, because you won't. And that's a great quality in a man. That's a fantastic quality, to know that his children come first. That means that he's going to be a fantastic father to your children. That should be a testament of the wonderful man that he is to his kids, because you can come first, but guess what? When God forbid you guys maybe break up and he has somebody else, your children will be back, take the back burner too. Like, as much as this right now is not beneficial to you, you should see it as a great thing, because that's how it's going to be to your children. As far as finances, 100%, his finances, if he has 1,000 bob and it's 1K per kid, that means it's 3 out. I mean, it's 100 bob per kid. That's 3 out, so you have left with 700 bob. Then let's say you have 2 children. So he has 500 bob for rent, for school fees. Do you get my point? Like, that's a true testament. You are going to feel strained because you are not just sharing your life with him. You are sharing your life with him and 3 other people who are very important to him. I personally feel that all those things are not the biggest matter when you guys are on the same page. If he truly wants to be with you and you want to be with him, number one, you can communicate this kind of why you're skeptical. You can say, you know, I want to experience this first with you, etc., etc. And what do you know most likely what he's going to tell you? He's going to tell you that those were the first with that person, and these are going to be first with you. And the way we feel about each other is going to make this first a completely different level than what it was there. Just because someone has had a kid does not mean that every other kid they have is now like, oh, here you are. No, it's going to be beautiful. She has a beautiful baby with her husband and another one coming, and I'm sure it was just as magical as it was the first time.
But there were complications.
With?
Like
having a previous kid.
exactly. You know, it's so easy to say it like that, the way you're saying it. Like, in an ideal world, love is just enough. But like, having lived it, sometimes love is not just enough. Like, there are some nuances that you have to be mentally prepared for, which ironically, you actually can't be prepared for it unless you're in that situation. But like, when my daughter was born, my husband, which is my second born now, who is 2 years now, and my oldest son is 9 years old, my husband and I had a lot of friction when it came to raising the baby, because he felt like I was very prescriptive. I told you guys I have a bad habit of always correcting people and correcting him. So like, sometimes you'd hold the baby in a certain way and I'd just be like, no, you're doing it wrong, just bring, you know, let me just do it.
Because you are more experienced.
Because I was more experienced and I'd already done it, you know. So for me, it's just like, well, I mean, I'm not wasting time learning, I already know. So it's like, for you now, you're just like holding me back from just like ordinary mothering and parenting. And I really, like, he honestly had to come and have a conversation with me, and he said, I think it's going to make me resent you if you keep doing that, because you're not allowing me to experience what it's like to just be a dad for the first time and be, you know, raise a baby. And I actually had to like now step back. Like, even when I would see him doing something wrong, like, you know, mixing them, I'll just be like, it's okay, you know, like, is it?
And
I'll just let
but
it
you
be.
guys figured it out.
Yeah, we
figured
did,
it out,
exactly.
And you just touched on a very good point, and I think it's almost sort of like the last point that has to be made. No matter what you sort of continue on. If you choose to leave him and you move on, that's fine. But if you do stay with this person, what you just acknowledged is, leave alone the idea of first. It's this idea of, does this man feel like he is still in a position in life to give you what you want? Because generally speaking, you're going to want a home, a kid, and things like that. And if he already has those things, are they desires for him that he wants to build with you? Now, if he loves you and you're on the same page, it might work out in that way. But sometimes you can absolutely be in love, but he's like, listen, I don't want to raise a fourth child. You know, I'm too old for this. Are you okay with being a stepmother kind of thing? Yeah. You have to see how much of your time are you going to dedicate, and where do you feel like he can also fit into your life? Because we're focusing a lot on how can you fit onto him and his family, but there are things that younger people tend to want that does a relationship with an older person validate those? Can they be supplied? So it's something you have to think about. I'm
assuming like he does want to have children with you. Like I was answering that question in hopes that he did, because otherwise like there is no question, right?
Yeah.
So assuming he does want that family with you, I think that was a really good point. There are going to be experiences which you are gonna feel like he has done this before. But I feel like it's not going to take away the value.
Absolutely.
Personally, first of all, would you be with somebody who's got other children?
Yeah.
Yes, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Right?
Yeah.
Neither would I.
I would mind.
Well, if the children are younger than I am, I wouldn't mind.
What do you mean if the children are younger than you?
If they're my age, no. I mean,
if they're older than me, it'd be weird.
I used to, when I was younger, it used to be such a big thing for me. I used to be like, there's no way I can have somebody who has other children and things like that. But when you think of the fact that you're thinking of a child as a problem, it's such a big nod to like maybe where your mind is at. Because yes, I get it's like a lot of responsibility and everything like that. But like you had a beautiful thing with somebody else. Like I'm the only one who's making it ugly because I came later. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. It used to bother me so much, but now I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'd mind.
I would not do it. I would not do it.
Says
you know,
Lydia, but you put it in that position.
No, but Lydia, you know, you're so much of a romantic. So you're like the kind of person who's like, love can conquer everything. But let me tell you, love doesn't conquer everything. Like there's like real life issues that happen that you know you need to actually be prepared for. Like, and for me, I feel like it takes a lot of grace to be in that situation. And Zach he has that personality. Like he's very
graceful.
He's very graceful.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, but I don't have it.
Like
so I don't think I would be like. I don't think that I would be that accommodating. But his personality lends to that, and that's what I was telling this lady. It depends on your personality. Like some people can do it, not everyone can.
But remember, you know, usually it's like the man is the one. Like the children stay with the mom. So actually, with the situation when you are the woman, funny enough, usually the child is not like. They're less of a responsibility.
For me, the only deal breaker would be if he treats his kids badly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just don't be a bad father.
That was kind of an ironic answer that I didn't expect from you, Joanne.
Yeah.
But anyways, you guys let us know your opinion and what advice would you give her. The hashtag is Ebru Let's Talk and the SMS is 40920. Now it is time for a little game time. So the game is called Charades. Everybody knows what charades is.
We know.
You get a card and
you don't got to explain.
You act out whatever is on the card. So who's going first?
Okay, let me go first. I'm here. I'm already up. Okay. I'm going. So Yummy Mummy, you're on my team. I want to call you Joe. It feels strange to call you Yummy Mummy.
Or you just do one?
Just do one.
No,
okay. Yeah. So let me do something that I feel like you would understand. Because one at a time. Okay.
Forward. Putting on a belt.
Dang, yeah.
Okay.
Wait, what? I didn't even.
Get to it, go.
Okay, fine. Okay, mine is super.
You don't say it.
Don't read it out loud. Act it.
Wow, Joe.
We know charades.
Okay, mine is.
Don't look at mine. Okay.
Two words. Smoking, blowing, bubbles,
balloon,
blowing,
bubbles.
Straw,
alcohol
blowing bubbles, blowing a straw. That's not mine. That's
paper.
Blowing
trumpet,
a trumpet, an instrument.
Oh, an instrument. It's an instrument.
Harmonica, a flower,
whistle.
Whistle blowing.
But what is that?
This is a whistle. I'm whistle blowing. Okay. I might not be as good in this game as I thought.
We do not have enough time.
Okay, so then we're automatically the winners.
You are winners. And to be honest, it was Dana because I had to be told by the director.
Ooh.
Okay, fine. But that we would never have guessed that
At all.
Anyway, I feel like a lot of our time did go into the Ask the Girls and the Talk That Talks, which were very passionate. We want to send nothing but love to every single person who trusts us with the situation that they're going through. And as much as we are debating, we hold it with a lot of delicacy that it's your life you're experiencing. So we love you and we appreciate you. Don't forget to send all your Ask the Girls to our Let's Talk page. Ebru Let's Talk _official. And tomorrow we have such a fantastic show planned for you guys. It's the beginning of the weekend, so you know we're going to be all the way up here. You don't want to miss that.